Clara was a hard-working woman living in a small village tucked away in the dense rainforests of Cross River State. Life in the village was simple yet demanding. Clara, known for her unrelenting spirit and kind heart, worked tirelessly to support her husband, Obong, in tending their farm and running a small market stall. Together they provided for their family. Clara, blessed with two young daughters, Annie and Ema, was pregnant again, her swollen belly now a symbol of hope and uncertainty in equal measure. The villagers often whispered about her. Some admired her strength, while others speculated about the gender of her unborn child. In this village, expectations were high for male heirs. Despite the gossip, Clara was a respected figure, and many villagers helped her with errands, a reflection of the goodwill she had shown over the years. Her closest confidant was Barbara, her childhood friend. They had grown up together, sharing secrets, dreams, and countless memories. Barbara gave birth to twin boys, an event that brought joy to Clara, but terror to Barbara. In their village, the birth of twins was not a cause for celebration. It was a death sentence. The elders believed that twins were a curse, harbingers of misfortune that could bring famine, disease, and ruins to the land. To appease the gods, twins were sacrificed, and their mothers often met a similar fate. Barbara had hoped to escape with her babies. She trusted no one except Clara and the midwife who had delivered her children. But her plans unravelled when Charles, a cunning and vindictive young man, spotted her leaving the midwife's hut with her infants. Charles was known for exploiting the village's superstitions to find favour with the king. Seizing the opportunity, he informed the king, who sent his guards to capture Barbara. But Barbara's attempt to flee ended in tragedy. She was dragged back to the village, her cries echoing through the night. Exhausted and still recovering from childbirth, she was brought before the chief priest. He accused her of endangering the village by defying their sacred customs. "Do you think you can escape the wrath of the gods?" the priest thundered, his voice echoing across the village square. Barbara fell to her knees, pleading for her life and that of her children. But her pleas were met with cold indifference. The priest raised his arms, invoking the gods to punish her for her defiance. A bolt of lightning struck Barbara and her twins, leaving the village in stunned silence. When Annie ran home with the news, Clara's world shattered. She wept for days, mourning her friend and the innocent lives lost. The village, however, saw the incident as a grim reminder of the power of their gods. Barbara's death served as a cautionary tale, solidifying the belief that the gods' wrath was swift and merciless. Charles, emboldened by the king's approval, became a self-appointed enforcer of the twin-killing tradition. He spied on pregnant women, reporting their deliveries to the king. Often his actions were driven by petty grudges. Families who offended him found themselves falsely accused. The king, trusting Charles, acted without question, and many innocent lives were lost. One of Charles's victims was Ivy, a kind woman who had rejected his marriage proposal years earlier. Ivy had married Emmanuel, a humble farmer and Charles's childhood friend. Consumed with jealousy, Charles followed Ivy to the midwife's hut. The moment she delivered, he rushed to the king, claiming she had given birth to twins. Despite Ivy's protests and Emmanuel's desperate pleas, the king ordered her execution. The chief priest declared that Ivy was hiding her twins, and her fate was sealed. Charles watched from the shadows, a cruel smile on his face. Clara, already haunted by Barbara's death, grew increasingly fearful as her due date approached. The thought of delivering twins filled her with dread. One humid afternoon, Clara was returning from the farm with a bundle of firewood balanced on her head when she felt the first pains of labour. The pain was sharp and sudden, causing her to drop the firewood. Gritting her teeth, she leaned against a tree, trying to steady herself. Realising that her time had come, Clara gathered her strength and began walking toward the midwife's hut. The midwife, an elderly woman, was one of the few people Clara trusted. Known for her compassion, she had delivered countless babies over the years, but the fear of twins weighed heavily on her. When Clara arrived, clutching her belly, she quickly led her inside and prepared for the delivery. After hours of labor, Clara gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Relief washed over her, but it was short-lived. Moments later, she felt another contraction, and before long, a second baby, a girl, entered the world. Twins. Clara's heart sank as she looked at the two tiny lives in her arms. They were perfect, innocent, and utterly defenseless. Yet, in the eyes of the village, their mere existence was a curse. The midwife stared at the twins in silence, her face a mix of awe and dread. "We must act quickly," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Charles must not find out about this." Clara nodded, tears streaming down her face. She didn't want to lose her children, but she knew the dangers that lay ahead. That night, while the village slept and Charles drank at the local bar, Ekanem devised a plan. She wrapped the twins in soft cloths and helped Clara sneak out of the hut. Together they made their way through the dense forest, guided only by moonlight. After hours of walking, they arrived at the outskirts of the village, where a small mission house stood. The house belonged to Mary, a white missionary who had lived in the village for years. Mary was a staunch opponent of the twin-killing tradition and had secretly provided refuge to women like Clara. Mary greeted them at the door, her face lighting up with concern and determination. "You're safe here," she said, taking the twins into her arms. "No harm will come to you or your babies." Clara collapsed into Mary's embrace, overwhelmed by gratitude and exhaustion. For the first time since her labor had begun, she felt a glimmer of hope. The next morning, chaos erupted in the village. Rumors spread that the gods had revealed the birth of twins. The king, furious and paranoid, ordered a house-to-house search, demanding that the twins be found. Charles, eager to redeem himself after his previous failures, joined the search with renewed vigor. Despite their thorough efforts, the twins were nowhere to be found. By evening, the king's frustration boiled over. He accused Charles of incompetence and betrayal, declaring that his failure to locate the twins had angered the gods. Charles protested, but the king's decision was final. Charles was dragged to the village square, where he met a grim end. The villagers watched in stunned silence, their once feared informant now reduced to a cautionary tale. The midwife was also brought before the king. Accused of aiding Clara, she endured hours of interrogation, but refused to reveal Clara's whereabouts. Despite threats and physical torment, she remained steadfast, her silence protecting the innocent lives she had helped bring into the world. Meanwhile, Clara and the twins adjusted to life in Mary's quarters. They were not alone. The mission house was home to several other mothers who had escaped similar fates. Mary had built an underground tunnel beneath the house, a hidden sanctuary where the women and their children could hide during searches. It was here that Clara found a sense of community and solidarity. Days turned into weeks, but the tension in the village only grew. A severe drought struck the region, leaving the fields barren and the rivers dry. The elders declared it a punishment from the gods for sparing the twins. Fear gripped the villagers, and they demanded action from the king. Desperate to appease the gods, the king called a meeting of the elders. "Search Mary's quarters," he ordered. "She has defied our traditions for too long. If she is hiding the twins, we will find them and end this curse." The elders marched to Mary's home, accompanied by a group of guards. Mary, having anticipated their arrival, gathered the mothers and children and led them into the underground tunnel. As the elders searched her home, Mary stood firm, denying any knowledge of twins in the village. "We know you've been hiding them," one elder accused. "If you continue, the wrath of the gods will fall upon you." Mary met their accusations with unwavering resolve. "Your gods do not punish the innocent," she said. "It is your ignorance and fear that brings suffering to this land." Frustrated and empty-handed, the elders left, but their threats lingered. Days later, the drought worsened. Crops failed, livestock perished, and hunger loomed. The villagers, desperate and angry, demanded a sacrifice to appease the gods. But Mary saw the drought as an opportunity to challenge their beliefs. Gathering the mothers and children, Mary led them to the village square during a rain ritual. The villagers watched in shock as the women and their twins emerged from hiding, standing defiantly before the elders. "Your gods are not angry because of these children," Mary declared, her voice strong and clear. "They are angry because you kill innocent lives. These children are not a curse. They are a blessing." The crowd murmured in confusion and fear. Before anyone could act, dark clouds gathered overhead. Thunder rumbled, and moments later, rain began to pour. The parched earth drank deeply, and the villagers stood frozen in awe. For the first time in months, water flowed freely, quenching the land's thirst. Many took the rain as a divine sign that the gods did not condemn twins. The king and his elders, stripped of their authority, were powerless to act. The villagers, emboldened by the miracle, began to question the practice of twin killing. Slowly but surely, the tradition eroded. Clara, now free to return to her home, embraced her daughters and introduced them to their new siblings. The village, once shrouded in fear and superstition, began to transform. Mary continued her work, advocating for the rights of women and children. Her efforts inspired a new generation to reject the old ways and embrace a future of compassion and understanding. From that day forward, the killing of twins became a relic of the past. Clara's story, along with those of the other mothers, became a beacon of hope, reminding the village of the strength and resilience of women who dared to defy the odds. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for free, like, share, and leave a comment below to tell us what you think about the story.